Welcome to the final part of Chapter 1. In the previous part we dealt with the primals, but Ultima arrived at the last minute to show us that he was the real threat all along. In this episode we will be finishing the A Real Reborn main scenario, but first thing first, we must. Before we can attack the Empire, we must reform the Scions. We return to the Waking Sands and run into Ul'dah. Ul'dah is completely surprised to see that Cid is alive. She blames herself for what happened, for not being here to be able to fight back. We learned that Y'shtola is alive and kicking, and is currently looking for Minfilia in Ul'dah. The reason that Gaius von Belzar has taken Minfilia and the rest of the Scions captive is in order to understand and study the Echo. Hydaelyn talks to us whilst resting, giving us a vision. We see Hydaelyn in all of her restored glory. She tells us to steel our resolve and prepare to fight the darkness with her power at our side. We awake and Y'shtola returns to us in the Waking Sands. Y'shtola's digging has seemed to work. We now know where Minfilia and the others are being held. Castrum Sentry in Mordona. Before we can do any sort of rescuing, we must gather information and allies. We ask around to confirm that Minfilia, Urianger, Papalimo and Tartaru have all been taken into Castrum Sentry, but that Biggs and Wedge have been seen escaping with an Imperial ship. We make it our goal to find the missing engineers, as they will be useful in our mission. We are able to locate Wedge, but Biggs is nowhere to be found. We ask around to see if people have spotted him, and after trying at 3 different locations we find him being attacked by Imperial troops. We take them out and reunite Cid, Biggs and Wedge. And with that, the core members of the Garlemald Ironworks are together once again. We cut to Gaius, accompanied by his 3 most trusted lieutenants, Nero, Livia, and Rita Heitin. They could all be seen looking towards the finalized version of Ultimate Weapon, stating that they are ready to purge the lands of Eorzea. Rita Heitin, Sas Arvina, is granted half of the forces to command at the western front of Vilbrand. He believes he isn't worthy to receive such a gift, as he's not a true-blood Garlean like the rest of them. But Gaius says it's not a gift, but something he has earned and proved himself worthy to obtain. We cut back to us, and we are able to find Castrum Sentry. We steal some Imperial armor and practice their salutes. With this we'll be able to fool Imperial soldiers and sneak into Castrum Sentry. By using a nearby drainage pipe, we fool our enemies into thinking we are one of them. With a little bit of snooping, we are able to confirm that our allies are being held here, but we are unable to act on it currently. Our new plan is to obtain a suit of Magitech armor to increase our power fire. Our new plan is to obtain our own suit of Magitech armor to increase our own firepower. We bait the patrol over to a corner of Mordona and steal their Magitech armor. As Cid, Biggs and Wedge observe the Magitech armor and attempt to fix it to get it under our control, we run into an issue with the core. The core seems to not work, and even with our makeshift core, the technology does not seem compatible with one another. Without the core being compatible, it is unable to move without being controlled by another person. However, this core seemed to have given the suit of armor feelings of some sort, as the core was replaced with that of a mammoth's heart. It responded to us defending her from the Imperials, and decided to move on her own. With that, the suit of armor is fully repaired, and we decided to give it the name Maggie. We are ready to take on Castrum Sentry. We put on our disguise. I know I'm not wearing a disguise, but imagine I am. And we enter the Castrum undetected. We cut to Livia torturing Minfilia to get her to talk about the Echo, so the Empire can learn how to counter it and harness it. It seems that she's being moved to Castrum Meridianum. We must act fast. We ask around to gain information to ask where our fellow Scions are being detained. We find out that they are being held within a storage tower. We are unable to access this without the correct identification key, so we convince an Imperial Centurion to lend us the key. We arrive in the tower, and Minfilia states she will take her life if they even consider harming the rest of the Scions. Wedge seems to get extremely worried when he sees that Tartaru is also here. We defeat the Imperial guards and manage to free our fellow Scions just before they were transferred to Castrum Meridianum. But Thancred is missing, but we have no time to ask questions as we now have to retreat from Castrum Sentry. We cut to Y'shtola and Ul'dah surrounding Livia to stop her from recapturing our friends, but also as vengeance for the ones she killed in the Waking Sands. They are quickly outnumbered and forced to retreat. We cut back to our team. We are being pursued by Imperial soldiers and Tataru is frightened and unable to move. Wedge charges into one of the groups headfirst with Maggie and holds off one of the incoming parties. We hold off the incoming Imperial soldiers from the other side. There seems to be no end to them. We are surrounded, about to be shot by their firing squad, but Y'shtola comes in with a last second clutch barrier. Ul'dah comes in and cleans up the stragglers. Wedge is forced to ditch Maggie and runs towards us. Maggie's core seems to awaken again upon seeing our face, and distracts the Imperial soldiers by malfunctioning. Sid tells us to count to 5 and jump off the bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We all leap, landing right onto the Enterprise. Gaius von Belzar is clearly displeased with this outcome. He doesn't let us flee and uses ultimate weapon to attempt to shoot us down. Minfilia tells us it was an ancient Allagan machine known as Ultima, created to destroy and absorb primals and their aether. Alfinuad spots Laha Brea standing next to Gaius. Laha Brea removes his hood and reveals to us that he's actually Thancred this entire time. We all can't believe what we are seeing, as Thancred was one of the most loyal companions in the Scions. Everyone is shocked. How could Thancred be an Ascian this entire time? But in actuality, we learn from Laha Brea that Thancred has been taken over by him since around the times of Titan. By using a necklace with a piece of corrupted aether in the center, Laha Brea has been using Thancred as a spy for the Empire. Before anyone can react or do anything, Ultima fires another beam towards us and we are forced to retreat. We must inspire the people by letting them know that the Scions are reformed and not all is lost by the coming of Ultima. The 3 Grand Companies have a council to discuss the upcoming battle against Ultima and the Empire. They are each given a missive that states that they will be surrendering in the upcoming battle. All they have to do is sign it and the surrender will be official. All the options seem to lead to the demise of Eorzea. How could the cities who couldn't fight the primals defeat a machine created to defeat primals? The calamity was only 5 years ago, and the city's in no shape to confront the Empire in its current state. They all want to fight, but it seems to not be a smart option. Maybe if the Scions weren't gone, things would be different. But just before they decide to surrender, we break into the council. Minfilia and Alfinuad do what they do best, and inspire the leader to take up arms. In a world ruled by the Garleans, the beast tribes are more than likely going to summon their primals with more frequency, causing more harm to the land than good. We must fight. It is the only way. They decide to combine their efforts just as they did 5 years prior and take down the Garlean Empire and destroy their machine Ultima. We are told to rest up in the Waking Sands and leave all the military tactics to them. We receive note of what the operations will include. The operation is known as Operation Archon and it goes as follows. The shortened version of it is that we are going to simultaneously attack every Imperial stronghold on Eorzean soil. The plan is very simply explained by Alfinuad. Buckle your seatbelts as we're in for a long one. The plan first goes into details as to what lies where and how everything is positioned on the map of Eorzea.
We have our 3 Grand Companies. The Maelstrom, situated in Limsa-Lominsa. The Immortal Flames, situated in Ul'dah. And the Twin Adder, situated in Gridania. The following strongholds exist. The one on Limsa-Lominsa soil is named Castrum Ossidens, and we have Castrum Meridianum located directly south of it, standing in the sea. Castrum Meridianum is located to the north of Ul'dah, which has a coastal outpost known as Cape Westwind. This allows Castrum Meridianum to travel to land between Limsa-Lominsa and Ul'dah. To the east of Gridania, we have Castrum Oriens, and right in the center of Eorzea, we have Castrum Sentry, located in Mordona. The operation's goal is to attack all of these strongholds simultaneously, with the main target being Castrum Meridianum, which is believed to house Ultima. We know that Rita Heaton is currently being transported to Cape Westwind. When he arrives, they are going to send us to assault Cape Westwind and kill Rita Heaton. As soon as Rita Heaton is defeated, the Maelstrom will attack Castrum Ossidens and Castrum Meridianum at the same time to halt supply lines to Meridianum. Meanwhile, the Twin Adder, backed by the Sylphs, will lay siege to Castrum Oriens. Then Ul'dah, accompanied by us and other elite heroes, will aim for Castrum Meridianum, whilst the Twin Adder move in to Castrum Sentry to block their reinforcements. We will then remove the barrier surrounding the inner part of Meridianum named the Praetorium. The immortal flames will hold them off as we charge into the Praetorium, seeking to destroy Ultima and ruin Gaius' plans once and for all. Shortly after the plan is discussed, we arrive at Cape Westwind, but we are waiting for the target to arrive. Rita Hitin Sas Arvina is eventually spotted, and we are preparing our attack on their stronghold. We should prepare ourselves for the toughest battle yet. If we falter here, the entire plan will fall apart. We confront him, and he mentions how his homeland was poor, stricken with illness, until the Garlemald Empire invaded them. With the help of the Garleans, the people prospered and were given a second chance. In a way, he's saying that even if Eorzea was to fall to Garlemald, nothing would be lost, as everyone prospers under the same banner. We ignore his talk, as we know he is wrong, but instead of using our words, we use our fists. We absolutely mop the floor with him and kill Rita Hitin in a few seconds and walk out. I thought this would be harder. We ignite a beacon and communicate with Alfinoir down below and tell him that Rita Hitin is no more and the operation can continue. We must hurry towards Castrum Meridianum to be ready for the next step of the plan. We cut to Gaius von Balzar, and he is told how Rita Hitin Sas Arvina was slain and how it was by our hand. Gaius and his fellow lieutenants, Nera and Livia, are distressed upon hearing this news. They also receive word of our attack and prepare to fight back.
We lie outside of Castrum Meridianum and hear that everything has gone according to plan. Rawbon, Alfinoir, and Minfilia rally the troops. We will start phase 3 by striking here and now. Upon entering, we target the searchlights, so the ships from above are unable to locate us. We are confronted by a man riding Magitech armor known as the Black Eft. He is defeated, and Cid tells us he intercepted a communication telling us that Ultima is stored in this facility, but to enter we must destroy 3 generator towers to get the barrier blocking the Praetorium down. Cid tells us to use a nearby waste chute to gain access to their ceruleum facility plants. We use pieces of incendiary to destroy the plants and cut off their supply of ceruleum. Ceruleum is a fuel the Garleans discovered and used it to power all things Magitech. With the supply depleted, the first generator is destroyed, but on our way we are blocked by a Magitech vanguard. We make quick work of it and are met by Cid, who somehow triggered an alarm. We must make haste. The Magitech vanguard drops one of 2 identification keys we need to gain access to the Praetorium's door. We disable every searchlight on the way and wait for Cid to reach the second generator. We are attacked by a Magitech Colossus who is sent to defend the generator, but it doesn't last very long. It drops the second identification key that we need. Cid uses the remaining power left in the Magitech armor and fires it at the tower. 2 down, 1 to go, but this isn't good. We don't have a plan to take out the 3rd tower. Livia can be spotted, watching us from above, but we go on ahead. We use the 2 identification keys to gain access to the Praetorium's entrance. We deactivate 2 more searchlights, but the Magitech ships won't stop barraging us with fire. We don't stand a chance unless we use anti-aircraft weapons of our own. Luckily enough, mortar cannons were nearby, and we fire them at the aircraft. They send 2 Colossus to defend the airship, but it isn't enough. The aircraft falls, and falls right onto the 3rd generator tower. It seems luck is on our side after all. The barrier falls, and Livia calls the army worthless and says she'll deal with it herself. She jumps into her own Magitech armor and begins the fight. Our weapons aren't much use to a Magitech armor, so we use nearby cannons to destroy it. The armor is no more, and we are given the opportunity to fight with her, and settle the score for what she did to our fallen comrades, and Noraxia. She won't go down without a fight, but we are able to take her down. With her defeated and the barrier down, we must make haste for the Praetorium, but we cannot enter through the front door. Cid decides to bring the Enterprise around and fly us above the wall, right into the Praetorium. This is going to be the most lengthy part of the video, so strap in, because it's going to get interesting. We are taken to the top of the Praetorium, and Cid believes that Ultima is housed at the lowest depths of the stronghold. We run into Gaius von Balzar. Cid is along with us, and as mentioned earlier, Gaius is Cid's adoptive father, after his actual father died in the Bosgen incident. He mentions that Midas was tempered by Bahamut, and he didn't even want to take part in the Meteor project, but had no choice in doing so. Shortly before his tempering, Midas Nan Garlemald confided all of his regrets in life to Gaius. His biggest regret was Cid. He means this in a good way. We learned that his father knew that Cid would never be satisfied with just building armaments for the Garlean Empire. He knew he'd be a happier man if he was able to use his ability as a technician to build more useful and peaceful technologies instead of ones used for war. Seeing Cid using his knowledge like that touched Midas and changed his heart, but he did not let it show to anyone. Cid demands to know what Gaius is after. Why tell him this after all this time? Gaius wants Cid to return to him as the Empire's lead engineer. Honestly, I'm not sure how we think this would work, as what he just told him probably steeled his resolve even more. Gaius even asks us to join his army. With our powers combined, we could control this entire realm. We obviously say no, and Gaius states that we are too dangerous to be left alive if we are a foe. He sends a Magitech Colossus after us, and flees to the lower levels. It is defeated, and Cid stays behind, as this place is like a huge navigator for the Praetorium. He will guide us around so we can reach Ultima faster. We are told to set up an identification on a terminal so we can use the same Magitech armor we stole previously. We are finally reunited with Maggie, since we had to leave her behind when saving Minfilia and the others. Cid guides us and tells us to use Maggie to blow open a hole in the wall to an external platform outside, and keep going till we spot a way down. We make our way down till we come upon a wall that is extremely tough, and Maggie's normal firepower won't suffice. We must redirect all the power to the cannon and fire it all at once. Doing this, however, leaves Maggie powerless, so we must continue on without her. We finally meet Nero Torskelva, Gaius' last and final lieutenant. Cid and Nero finally unite after so long. They have had a rivalry when it came to engineering. Cid was always Nero's better, and Gaius' favourite. He believes that he was more talented of the two, but was not given the recognition he deserves, as Cid was the child of the great Midas Nan Garlemald. Even after Cid defected, he believed that the star would finally fall upon to him, but instead Cid became legend, a man who was a genius of engineering, born from the father of Magitech, a young prodigy of Magitech. People started to think of Cid more fondly even after he left. Everything Nero did and strived for was always played off as following in Cid Nan Garlemald's footsteps, but no longer will he live in his shadow. He will stop us here and allow Gaius to activate Ultima. He will finally receive the recognition he deserves. We learn the reason the Garleans studied the Echo, and it was that Nero wanted to harness that power and use it in Ultima and really turn it into the ultimate weapon. We managed to defeat Nero. His stalling has worked. Ultima has managed to be activated. We must hurry below, but we will lose contact with Cid as the Aether is too dense. We take the elevator down, and the last words we hear from Cid is him telling us not to die. Gaius lands on the elevator. He starts questioning us, asks us to tell him, what do we fight for? We reply, for Eorzea. Gaius mocks us, saying everything we believe in is a lie. We are forced to fight primals, and the gods don't help us when we need it. What he says is true. Our gods will reply to our needs if we provide them with enough Aether crystals. Then we can summon a primal incarnation of the gods, but not the gods themselves. He calls us no different from the beasts. He says we pray to gods because we lack the strength to do what we want, and the Garleans believe in the might of man, and that man should fight through conflict, gain riches through conquest. For the world of man to mean anything, then the man must own the world. We are challenged by him. If Gaius can defeat us, then it proves to him that he is right to rule the world, as the strong conquered the weak. I'm just going to pause here, as I've always been curious as to why Gaius is seen going Super Saiyan here. I'd imagine a lot of people have always wondered as to why Gaius gilds his armor out of nowhere, when no other Garlean is seen doing it. Well, I think I may have found the answer. When I was researching for a reason, it was astutely noted by a Reddit user named Sovis that the lore bite within the gilded Magitech armor mount actually mentions that gilded armor dampens the effect of Aether, granting the user an extra layer of defense. We can assume this is the reason Gaius gilds his armor, to defend himself from our attacks. The battle is hard fought, and Gaius didn't think the battle would be this hard. He remarks that our strength is impressive, and if we wanted to, we could become a ruler ourselves. But instead of attempting to rule, we aid the people and strive for no crown. The lift finally reaches the bottom of its descent, and Gaius walks towards Ultima. Gaius enters Ultima and challenges us yet again. We are seemingly unable to do any sort of noticeable damage to it, until Hydaelyn communicates with us. She tells us that the foe is darkness and to look upon the crystal. This grants us strength, the strength to fight back Ultima. Ultima channels the different primals he absorbed so far, but we are able to sever Ultima's link with each of the primals it absorbed. Gaius wonders why Ultima cannot win, and Laha Brea appears to him and says it is the blessing of the light. To beat us, Ultima must use the darkness within to break the shield of light. The heart of Ultima is known as the Heart of Sebek. It is so powerful that not even the Allagans could scratch it. By absorbing the primal's aether, it should have accelerated the awakening process of the Heart of Sebek. This would allow Ultima Weapon to cast its strongest spell, Ultima, a spell with no rival. Laha Brea takes control of Ultima and forces it to cast Ultima. Hydaelyn is forced to use all of her might to defend us from the blast. The damage is like no other. The entire facility is turned into charred metal, ash and smouldering rubble. We are now defenseless. With Hydaelyn gone, we are vulnerable. Gaius challenges us yet again with an awakened Ultima. This battle is even harder this time. We avoid all the primal's powers, and just before Laha Brea can recast Ultima, we finish it off. Ultima is destroyed. Laha Brea calls Gaius pathetic. He states that the very laws of existence must always be in balance and that he will correct it himself. He means to talk of the balance between the light and the dark. One cannot exist without the other, and when there's too much of one, the world begins to fall apart. He will aim to defeat us and bring upon more calamities to the world, to pave the way for the Dark One to be resurrected. We engage in a battle with Laha Brea, and aim to rescue our dear friend Thancred. He states that without killing Thancred, we cannot kill him. Hydaelyn tells us to ignore the words of the dark and to only believe in the light. We shoot our aether directly towards Laha Brea, bringing him into the same area we have our visions. Hydaelyn empowers us and provides us with weapons of light, just as she did at the beginning of our journey. We hit Laha Brea and separate him from Thancred. Now we can hit him as hard as we want without holding back. Laha Brea looks upon the crystal of Hydaelyn, and all of our companions can be seen appearing before him, and then us. We charge at Laha Brea with all the light we have and banish him from this realm. Upon the defeat of Laha Brea, we are surrounded by fire as the stronghold starts to collapse around us. There seems to be no way out until Maggie comes to save us and take us out of here. We grab Thancred and make a run for it. Gaius is left behind, proclaiming that perhaps Cid was right. There is certainly no way he is surviving this explosion. Hydaelyn can be seen communicating to us, saying that we have defeated the darkness in the realm for now, but we must be wary of the Dark One. Darkness will always return, but Eorzea will shine a gentle light, and that our work here is done. On the outside, everyone else is worried as we are running late. Castrum Meridianum is being destroyed right in front of them, and we haven't returned to the designated location. Minfilia prays to Hydaelyn and she responds. We were close to being killed, but we managed to jump last second through the explosion, and we even brought Thancred along. It seems that everyone's prayers have worked. We reunite with our friends and comrades. It seems that Project Archon was a success. The Garlemald Empire within Eorzea has been defeated. May we all return home now to rest, and we will celebrate another time. Some time passes and we gather to the edge of Mor Dhona, overlooking the site where Midgard's Sorma fell. We have a victory speech whilst the credits play over a cutscene. The Grand Companies are bonded together, stronger than ever, and vowed to help each other more often. Eorzea will become one. With the threat of the Garleans gone, the Grand Companies declare the 7th Umbral era has ended, and announces that this is the beginning of the 7th Astral era, and that the realms are reborn. Just as we are celebrating the beginning of a new astral era, we are granted a vision. It is us in the same area with Hydaelyn, but instead of her normal blue glow, she is now glowing purple. The realms that start to dark, and the ground starts to tremble, and a roar shrieks over all the realms. It seems that a new primal has awoken. The beast lets out another roar. It's reminiscent of that of Bahamut, letting us know of his existence. We cut to Laha Brea, who is assumed to be in the void, a realm of nothingness that is not located on Hydaelyn, and a few other Ascians nearby. It seems that the Astral Era is not without its complications. As the camera pans out, it seems that there are way more Ascians than we thought. They pray to their one true god, who finally receives a name drop. Zodiac.
Now we can finally turn the page from chapter 1 and officially start chapter 2. I believe the next video will be on the Crystal Tower story, as it was only recently turned into forced content from being side content. The story there is very important to understanding the story that happens later on, so it needs its own chapter.
But with that, I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you're interested in more content like this, consider subscribing. May you ever walk in the light of the crystal.